So much for joining us today to talk about For the Love of Data. I am Courtney Kearney, founder and owner of C. Kearney Consulting, and we are excited to have you here. Before we jump into talking about the love of data, I did want to do some housekeeping things. So I'm going to drop in some links to the chat window. Hopefully you can see those. The first of which is to sign up for our monthly emails if you do not already get those. We pack those full of actionable content. For example, in January, our article was about 6 strategies to get you the information that you need. So if you did not get that email last month on the 31st, then I've included that link in the chat window. Stop Wasting Time is the title. So if you have to get technical data and information out of whether it's a project team, whether it's an engineer, an architect, a superintendent, whatever that is, we put some strategies together to help you achieve that and get the information that you need to do your job well. That's just one example of the kind of content that we have in our monthly emails. In addition to those, we have monthly resources like the webinar we're doing today, but our cadence has changed for 2023. So last year we were doing them multiple in a month. This year we're only doing one event a month. So the even months, like this month, we are doing free webinars like we're doing today. And then on the odd months, we're doing our CRM chats in that forum style. So anything you want to talk about that is industry specific around CRM or data, that's the place to come and have that conversation. And that's led by the project managers here at CKC. And then if you are ready to achieve your CRM goals or your data goals, we are ready to help you. You can book a discovery call today to meet with Valerie to discuss your needs, your goals, and the things that we can help you achieve. But if you're not ready to hire a consultant yet, we completely understand. And that's why Chaz and I wrote the book, CRM or Die, so that you can have tangible help right there at your fingertips. So be sure to purchase that if you haven't already. And if you have, pick it up and start reading it. So without further ado, we're going to jump into this month's topic. It being February and Valentine's coming up, we wanted to talk about really loving our data and what does that look like? Really, I'm going to take you on a little bit of a journey through the idea of what your data utopia is. In order to do that, we have to spend a minute and think about what in the world is utopia anyway. You might hear that when you're thinking about literature and the books that you want to read. I know my middle schooler is reading books about the dystopia and things like that. So what does that really mean? At the root of it, it's all about an ideal place or an ideal state. So when we're thinking about that in terms of our firms, our departments, the state of our data, Chaz and I that wrote the book CRM and Die spent time to do that exercise. If we're going to be writing a book about CRM, then really we should think about what does our ideal future look like? What does our data utopia look like? So if you have a book if you have a book in hand, we did do this on page 34. I'm going to share that now with you. And if you don't, no worries, I put it on the slide, but it is a lot of words. So I am going to read it and then we're going to break it down together. My slide will not advance. There we go. In our utopia, every AEC employee starts their day by logging in to an integrated CRM solution where a fully automated company brief is waiting for them, along with a customized list of objectives or to-do items. Everyone in the firm can read this comprehensive data story because there is a well-defined process in place that everyone is dedicated to, resulting in a perfect data set that always stays up to date. The Chief Data Officer has developed an impeccable culture of data stewardship, empowering each member to use data to drive their decisions, no matter their role in the company. This creates an industry that values data as a renewable asset and views data as a lifestyle, not a one-time crash diet. Uses data to be predictive and therefore reduces reactive behavior and never uses it punitively, but always positively. So what does this really mean? That's a lot of words to describe a utopia. So we're going to break it down. And first, we talk about a perfect data set and access to it in real time. The perfect data set. What we mean by that is there's no missing data. Every field is populated. Again, this is dream state. This is ideal. We know that the minute you get that perfect dream state of the data set, there could be a user on the other end of your system that is creating a record with missing data. We understand that. But when you are dreaming of your data utopia, you're not thinking about all the things that could go wrong. Instead, we're painting a picture of everything that's gone right. So thinking through a perfect data set. What does that look like for you and your firm? Does that look like every contact has an email address? Every contact has an owner that is attached to someone that is in your firm? Does that look like every project has a status, who designed it, the engineer, the completion date? What is your utopia perfect data set? And update it in real time, meaning we don't get the completion date for the project 2 years after it's completed, but we get the completion date throughout the project. As that date pushes or moves forward, it stays up to date at all times. Now, these are the goals that we set forward in that paragraph that we just looked like. Your goals could be a little bit different. But one thing that will be consistent across everyone's utopia is that there's internal work that has to be done in order to achieve our goals. So for this utopia that we described, we had a well-defined process with employees dedicated to that and being held accountable to it. So a well-defined process for the example that I gave earlier. Every time a contact is created, an email address is required. So is an owner, so that every time we run reports, we know exactly how that contact got into the system, who owns them. Now, there can be more than one owner, of course, but really looking at ownership and accountability so that every quarter we can run a report and say, Emily, here is your data. Amber, here is your information. Is this up to date? And we're not doing that on a crash diet because it's holiday card time. Instead, we're doing that on a quarterly basis and we're keeping it up to date as real time as possible. Looking at that accountability piece, whether that's your data being reviewed is tied to an annual bonus. You can't get your bonus until your data is reviewed. Whether that's employee dedication, just because it's set in the culture of, hey, everybody's committed to keeping the CRM up to date. Otherwise, leadership doesn't get the statistics that they need. They can't make decisions about the future of the business. Whatever that why is, it's been explained in a way and it's emanated into the culture that everybody is dedicated to it. Now, along with that comes some commitments from the firm. So in our utopia, there's a chief data officer. We know that this is not as popular in the AEC industry yet. However, that chief data officer position could already be in your firm. It's just not called that. So it could be the chief information officer. It could be the marketing director. It could be a CRM manager. Whatever that role is, it's the person who's responsible for setting the data culture, putting those standards in place, making sure that at the C-suite top level of leadership in your business, that data is viewed as a renewable asset that needs to be protected. That when you're having conversations at the table about your business assets and your business intelligence, how do we protect those things, that data at all levels is being taken into consideration. And then a commitment to looking at data as a lifestyle. If you're like, what have you been smoking, Courtney? What does that even mean? We have some articles in addition to the book that talks about this. So head over to our website and you can find those. But really what it's after is, if you think of health as a lifestyle, then you work out on a regular basis. You consider what you eat. You consider vitamins. You look at what you put in your body, what you do with your body, those kind of things. That is a lifestyle. That is a choice to live a healthy version of yourself. Versus oh crap, summer is right around the corner and I've got to be in a bathing suit. I'm going to go crash diet. We're going to do nothing but liquids. That is very different viewpoints, right? Well, you can apply this to your data. Looking at it as a lifestyle, we clean it, we look at our hygiene, we're maintaining our data integrity on a regular basis. Crash diet, it's the annual meeting and we don't know our hit rates. It's an annual meeting and I got to put this slide together that shows how many projects we have in each market. And then we never look at it again until, oops, it's the annual meeting and we're doing this crash diet of crunching numbers once, maybe twice a year. Those are two very different viewpoints. So in our utopia, there's a commitment from all employees that data is a lifestyle and a commitment to filling out that data, keeping it clean and maintained. The other part is the results. So what are the results if this data utopia comes true? The culture of data stewardship. If we think about the word stewardship, that is really a commitment to how you are spending your intentional effort. So thinking through, I'm going to be intentional about keeping my contacts up to date. When I see that someone moves firms, I'm going to go update all the right places and not just keep it in a silo of my email or keep it in a silo of my phone. When I have meetings, I have a commitment to and a true stewardship to my firm to make sure that that information stays somewhere outside of just my head, outside of just that one interaction with that prospect or current client. And then in employee empowerment, this is so powerful when done right, because everyone at any level in any role can make decisions based on data. So for example, one of our clients does really good at keeping the CRM up to date for their projects. So much so that when the front desk gets called of, hey, I saw your sign on some fence at First and Main Street. What are you building? That receptionist can pull up the CRM, look at those coordinates and answer, oh, that's going to be a new retail development by such and such developer. That is a commitment and empowering every employee, from the person who answers the phone to the receptionist who might sit in the lobby. And when a guest arrives, they use the CRM to check them in and say, oh, I see that you have a birthday coming up. Happy birthday early. That they can make those personal connections at all levels. And it's not just, well, I'm not your account owner and I don't know anything about you. You come in here every month for a project status meeting, but I'm going to act like I don't know you every time because I don't have a relationship with you. Instead, that employee can be empowered to form their own relationship and give the culture to that client that everyone in the company cares, everyone at the firm. So making sure that your employees are empowered can be part of your data utopia. Now, the cool part of that we geek out about and that we stay up in tune with for the technology part is that output. So that's kind of where a lot of us geek out and get excited of what could automation bring to the table, things like that. You'll notice that when I started the paragraph, that's how we set the stage, because again, these are the visuals, these are the outputs, these are the end results. So one of the things that we described is an automated company brief. This technology does exist. I have not seen anybody in our industry putting it to the test yet and using it internally. However, it is in many other industries. So what this can look like is it will watch your CRM system, and this technology uses AI and machine learning to put a brief together. When you log into your dashboard, you sign in and it tells you the company overall health in the education market is increasing this quarter, or we're seeing a downturn in hospitality due to the COVID and all of the things that now we're coming out of, and now we're down. It can do all of those things without human interaction. It is based on the data that you are entering in your pursuits and your projects and looking at the trends of your own data within your own system. Same thing with the customized objectives. That same AI software can look and say, you as the marketing coordinator, you have a deadline of an upcoming proposal. These statistics would be great for your pursuit. I know that it's because of how the opportunity record was created, I know it's an education pursuit. And did you know that 35% of our work in 2022 has been tagged healthcare or education, for that example? What is the market breakdown? If you put overall market information into your CRM, did you know that when you're writing the executive summary, the AI can tell you your company has 51% of the market share for this industry? Is that something that would connect with your clients so that you can have confidence saying, in this geographic location, we have the majority of the market and we are the industry leaders to build, design, to engineer your specific building that you're looking for? And then finally, it gives you some comprehensive stories where you can see the graph and then there's a narrative right next to it to tell you, we don't have enough in our pipeline right now. We need to be chasing more work. Or red alert, there is a huge amount of open pursuits in our least profitable contract type. Maybe we need to go chase some more negotiated work instead of hard bid, which we have a hit rate of 50% in, which isn't great. So that is where the breakdown of what our utopia looks like. So when we're describing that, these are the components that go into that utopia. So my first question to you, what is your data utopia? So get a pen, get some paper, and brainstorm your data utopia. What does that look like? I shared what Chaz and I put together, but what is your data utopia for your business? I'm going to give you a minute to go ahead and write that down. You've got about 15 seconds left to finish writing down what your data utopia looks like. Fantastic. So I'm going to share some examples that I've heard, some things that our clients share when we ask this question of them. One of the most common is a data-driven firm, a firm that is making decisions not off of reaction of, oh my gosh, we just lost our biggest client. Now we're going to go make decisions based off that reaction, a gut instinct of, oh, I really feel like we're going to have a downturn in healthcare, but really looking at things like population maps of growing areas and whether we should or shouldn't be in that geographic location, whether we should or shouldn't open an office based on data instead of someone just wants to move to Colorado to go skiing all the time. Really looking at being data driven and that could be your sole utopia. A one unified data set where I go to one login instead of 14 to get the information that I need for my proposals. A seamless data flow through your business, meaning across departments. The accounting information flows into the marketing database, which the marketing and accounting information flows over to operations and then back again. That can be across departments, it can be across systems. A seamless data flow through devices. So when I input someone's information on my phone, it also shows up in my Outlook, it also shows up in my CRM. Across devices can be your utopia. A clear and defined process for data management. When you input an opportunity, this is where it goes. This is how it goes. This is the information that's required. All of that being on a piece of paper so that it documents the flow of how your pursuits happen. Who's responsible for what? Marketing responsible for creating the opportunity. Is business development responsible for creating the opportunity? Is the head of that market required to create the opportunity? Having that documented and clear on paper and part of onboarding. So working with HR to say, when you have a new employee, this is the process that they need to understand. Double data entry eradicated. Julie Schaefer, I always quote her when we talk about this, that which has been typed should never be typed again. Amen. And that can be a data utopia. All data inefficiencies eliminated. I know that if you work with operations or technical staff, you might hear this a lot of, I already gave you that, or can't you find my resume information somewhere else? Which, shout out to the marketing ladies who put a update your resume tune together to the Encanto song. So if you have not heard that, head over to LinkedIn. I think we've shared it as a company. I know that I liked it and commented, so definitely go check that out. It's marketing genius. And I'm sure a lot of us can relate to that song and the message in it about updating your resume and keeping it up to date. So this leads me to my second question. If any of these resonated with you or things from the example that I gave, what is one thing that you can do this week? It is Thursday, so maybe next week. I do understand that some of us work half days on Fridays, so maybe this is a next week item. But what is one thing that you can do this week or next week to bring you closer to your data utopia, to begin that journey of headed towards your data utopia? I'm going to give you another minute to write down what is that one thing. Don't get overwhelmed by the impossibility of your data utopia, but really concentrate on one thing. Now I have that Encanto song stuck in my head. It's so funny how catchy those things can be. All right, you've got 10 seconds left to finish out your thought of what is that one thing that you can do in the next week to put you one step closer to your data utopia. For the examples that I gave before, we're going to run through some of those one things that you can do. So mapping out your firm's data flow, even if it's as simple as looking at your project history. It starts as a rumor, it goes to an opportunity, it goes to a project, breaking down what is the information that goes from one to the other to the other. So when it's at a rumor stage, it gets put into an Excel spreadsheet, then it gets put into your CRM, then it gets put into the accounting software. Does any of that information move from one to another? Can we automate some of that? But really just starting with a piece of paper and a pen and mapping out that data flow. Creating a list of where all the data lives. So if you said that you want to eradicate those inefficiencies, this is a great start. Making a list of, well, our project data lives on the operations server. It lives in our project sheets that are stuck in InDesign. It lives in our CRM. It lives in our previous proposals. It lives in, oh yeah, that spreadsheet that one guy in pre-construction keeps on his desktop. It lives in all of these different places. Getting that on paper so that you can start to dwindle those down gets you one step closer to that single data set. Scheduling a meeting to discuss data with other departments, whether that is, let's tackle accounting, let's tackle operations, let's tackle IT, just having the meeting of, hey, this is how I see the data flows through our business. What is your perspective on that? And they might say, oh, you missed like 5 different systems that you didn't know about, or, oh, did you know that IT is also working on a project to streamline some of these things? Getting outside of just your department can be a step forward. Outlining a process for data management. So even if it's just, hey, we need to control our contact information on a regular basis so that we don't want to cry every day coming into work when it's time for holiday mailers or holiday gifts or whatever that looks like. writing out all the areas of double entry. If you complain about double data entry, or your technical team or accounting, whoever is complaining about double data entry, actually writing down the list. Oh, did you know that I have to input project data in all of these different places? Even if you eliminate one of them, you can add time back to your day, which is helpful. Capturing those inefficiencies. Things like, oh, we accidentally put the square footage wrong 3 different places in the proposal because in the narrative it said this, on the project sheet it said this, and on the resume it said this. If we were to put the square footage here in our CRM, then that would no longer happen. So coming up with those inefficiencies and then quantifying these things. So quantifying, if I didn't have to do double data entry, then I could save an hour a week. Or if I didn't have to hunt for this information that's in multiple places, I could save an hour a week. That gives us back $200 to our bottom line every week, which means quarter over quarter, this as much time is being returned to the bottom line so that I can be strategic in my job, or that the technical staff can be billable, or that, whatever, however that unravels, but quantify it so that you can make an impact to the leadership when you're having these discussions of, let's eliminate some of these data inefficiencies, and this is what we're able to bring back if we were able to eliminate some of these things. So hopefully in the last 30 minutes, you have been able to go into a dream, ideal, utopian state and think about some of your data and how in a perfect world, what would that look like? And then hopefully you have one actionable item that you can do, one thing in the next week to put you closer to that data utopia. I want to end by providing a little bit more information from us. We always want you to get value out of the time that you spend with us. So I'm going to drop some more links into our chat window. If you are a Uninet user, we are doing a workshop before the Uninet conference on April 26th. We are looking for topic ideas, so you can email marketing@ckearneyconsulting.com. I've also dropped the link to today's slides in the chat window. You're going to get a follow-up email with a survey link. We'll also send you the link to the slides in that email as well. And then we've also got our CRM chat next month, led by our project managers on March 9th. So hopefully you can join us for that. And I hope you have a great February and show your data some love and get you a step closer to your data utopia. Have a great afternoon. Thank you so much.